Okay, so have you ever like visited a website and it just takes forever to load?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, like, waiting for, like, a video to buffer or something.
It's the worst. And like, in today's world, speed is everything, right?
Right, it's like the attention span these days
Yeah,
is
exactly. So that's why we are diving into Amazon CloudFront today,
Okay, cool.
which is all about delivering your content like super
It's
fast.
lighten.
Yeah. And we are going straight to the source for this deep dive.
Straight to the source, okay.
We were looking at Amazon's own documentation for CloudFront.
Nice, so we're getting it right from the horse's mouth.
Exactly. And, a lot of times people think of documentation as like this really technical, boring thing.
Yeah.
But honestly, this stuff is like, it's pretty approachable even if you're not a total tech whiz.
Yeah, for sure.
So whether you're a developer, a business owner, or just someone who wants to learn more about like making their website faster,
Okay.
this deep dive is for you. And like, get this, we're even going to be talking about how to set up a secure static website using CloudFront.
Oh, wow, a secure static website. That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, so let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
So right from the beginning, the documentation talks about like setting up an AWS account,
Okay.
which is kind of like your home base for all things AWS,
Yeah.
and creating a user with administrative access.
Right, that makes sense. You need to have the main account set up first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that they emphasize security right from the start.
Yeah, absolutely, because with administrative access, you've got like the keys to the kingdom, right?
Yeah.
So it's crucial to protect that access because if it falls into the wrong hands, it could be a real disaster.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that.
Sure.
So moving on to like the actual setup of CloudFront,
Okay.
the documentation walks us through setting up a distribution, which is basically how CloudFront like distributes your content globally so it loads quickly for everyone.
Got it.
But what caught my eye was this thing called Origin Access Control, or
Yeah.
OAC.
OAC, I heard of. What is that all about?
All right, it sounds kind of mysterious and like a little intimidating.
Yeah.
But when I read about it, I was like, oh, this is actually really smart.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So basically, OAC acts as a bouncer for your content.
A bouncer.
Yeah, like imagine you're hosting images on your server.
Okay.
Without OAC, someone could potentially bypass CloudFront and link directly to those images, eating up your bandwidth.
Oh, I see. So it's like they're cutting the line.
Yeah, exactly. And OAC is like, no, 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 you got to go through CloudFront.
So make sure that all requests go through the proper channels.
Exactly, which keeps things secure and helps you manage your resources more efficiently.
That's a great point. I hadn't thought about the resource management aspect of it.
Right.
So it's not just about security, it's about optimization too.
Totally. And speaking of security, I was really impressed with how CloudFront integrates with AWS's identity and access management, or IAM.
Right. IAM, that's all about controlling who has access to what within your AWS environment.
Exactly. And with CloudFront, you can get super granular with permissions.
So it's not just one admin with all the power.
No, you can give different teams or individuals access to just the specific CloudFront features they need.
That makes sense. So like your marketing team could manage cache settings while developers handle the technical configurations.
Exactly. It's all about least privilege,
Yeah.
which is a super important security principle.
Yeah. The idea is to only give people access to what they absolutely need to do their jobs.
Right. Minimizes the risk of any like accidental or intentional mishaps.
Definitely a smart approach.
So we've talked about speed, we've talked about security,
Mm-hmm.
but there's another cool thing that CloudFront can do.
Oh, what's that?
Setting up a secure static website.
A secure static website. What are the advantages of using CloudFront for that?
Well, for starters, CloudFront automatically serves your static website over HTTPS,
Okay.
which is huge for both security and SEO because Google loves secure websites.
Right. HTTPS is a must-have these days.
And the best part is, you don't have to mess around with SSL certificates.
Oh, really?
CloudFront handles all of that behind the scenes.
So no more wrestling with certificate renewals.
Exactly. One less thing to worry about.
I like the sound of that.
Plus, remember all that talk about global content delivery?
Yeah.
Well, that applies to your static website, too.
Oh, so CloudFront distributes my site to edge locations around the world.
Exactly. So visitors get those lightning-fast load times no matter where they are.
It's like having your website on a supersonic jetpack.
I love that analogy.
Okay, perfect.
So for anyone listening who's like, okay, this sounds great, but how do I actually get started?
Right. Where does the documentation point us?
Well, the documentation walks through everything step by step.
Okay.
But what I found particularly helpful were the sections on AWS SDKs.
SDKs.
Yeah, it stands for Software Development Kit.
Oh, okay.
And basically, it gives developers tools to interact with services like CloudFront programmatically.
So instead of clicking around in the console, you can automate tasks.
You
Exactly.
can build custom dashboards and really integrate CloudFront deeply into your workflow.
That's awesome. So if you're comfortable with a little code, the SDKs can really unlock the power of CloudFront.
It's not just a point-and-click tool, it's a platform you can build on.
Exactly. And that's what I love about this documentation. It doesn't shy away from the technical details, which is great for those who want to really dive deep.
Totally.
Yeah.
So to wrap things up, if you're looking to speed up your content delivery, tighten up security, and have incredible control over how your content is served, CloudFront is definitely worth exploring.
Absolutely.
And the documentation provides a fantastic roadmap whether you're just getting started or ready to dive into advanced configurations.
Couldn't agree more. Just remember, while CloudFront provides amazing tools to make your content fly, it's crucial to think about the security implications of every configuration.
Right.
Who needs access to what?
Yeah.
How much control should they have?
Good questions.
Those questions will guide you towards a setup that's both powerful and secure.
Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive on Amazon CloudFront.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This was really interesting, and I learned a lot.
Me too. It's always good to revisit the fundamentals.
And for our listeners, be sure to check out the show notes for links to the documentation we discussed today.
And don't be afraid to experiment and try out different configurations.
That's how you really learn.
Absolutely. And until next time, happy coding.
And stay secure out there.